Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn to describe the basic properties of each physical state of matter, that is solid, liquid, and gas. Let us start by learning some definitions. First, let us define what chemistry is. Chemistry is the study of matter, its properties, the changes or reactions that matter undergoes, and the energy associated with these changes. So the next obvious question will be, what is matter? Matter can be defined in two different ways. On a macroscopic level, we define matter as anything that has mass and occupies some space. On a microscopic level, matter is anything that is composed of atoms or molecules or ions or subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons, and electrons. Here we have an example of matter. On a macroscopic level, we see an iceberg, sea water, and moisture on the top. At microscopic level, each of these different types of matter are made of water molecules. Matter is the stuff that this entire universe is made of. For example, books, planets, trees, buildings, iPads, laptops, all these are different types of matter. So, in short, we can say that chemistry is study of everything. Before going any further, let us properly define some of the words we used in this slide, such as atom, molecule, ion, and a subatomic particle. First, let us define what an atom is. Atoms are the building blocks of matter. It is the smallest particle of an element that still has the properties of that element. You must have seen this image of an atom in textbooks before. An atom is made up of a nucleus, which contains protons and neutrons, and electrons which orbit the nucleus. These three particles present inside an atom are called as subatomic particles. Protons have positive charge, neutrons are neutral, and electrons have negative charge. The number of protons in the nucleus is what determines the identity of the element. For example, a carbon atom has 6 protons in its nucleus, whereas a helium atom has only 2 protons in its nucleus. These numbers are characteristic of the identity of the atom. This means that any atom that has 6 protons in its nucleus is a carbon atom, and all carbon atoms have 6 protons in its nucleus. There are 118 known elements that are displayed in the periodic table. 90 of them are naturally occurring, whereas the remaining are created in the laboratories. The number of protons in an atom of each of these elements is shown on the top left corner of each box. As we can see, these numbers are characteristic of the type of the atom. Next, let us discuss what a molecule is. A molecule consists of 2 or more atoms connected to each other by a special type of bond called as covalent bond. For example, if you take a glass of water, it consists of individual water molecules. Each water molecule is formed when 2 hydrogen atoms are covalently bonded to an oxygen atom. Next, let us define what an ion is. In an atom, the number of protons, that is the positive charges, is exactly equal to the number of electrons, that is the negative charges. And because of this reason, an atom is electrically neutral. However, if we take a neutral atom and remove an electron from it or add an electron to it, the atom will no longer be neutral. It becomes an ion with a positive or a negative charge. This is because the number of protons and electrons no longer match, leading to an imbalance of charge. For example, if we take a helium atom, it contains 2 protons and 2 electrons, making it electrically neutral. If we add an electron to a helium atom, it will form a negatively charged ion, as the number of electrons now are greater than the number of protons. On the contrary, if we remove an electron from a helium atom, it will form a positively charged ion called as cation. Chemistry is often referred to as the central science, as it is essential for understanding of many other disciplines of science. For example, chemistry plays an important role in understanding key biological processes and interactions. Many biological molecules, such as proteins, nucleic acids, and carbohydrates, are composed of smaller chemical building blocks called as amino acids, nucleotides, and sugars, respectively. In addition, the chemical reactions that occur within cells, such as food metabolism and DNA replication, are also essential to understand in order to fully grasp the workings of a living organism. Therefore, we can say that understanding chemistry is essential for understanding the fundamental processes of life at the molecular level. Next, let us discuss various types of classification of matter. Matter can be classified into different types, first based on its state, and then based on its composition. Based on its state, matter can be classified into 3 different categories: solid, liquid, and a gas. A solid has a fixed shape and volume. Solids can be either hard, like a table, or soft, like a cushion. They can be rigid, like a piece of glass, or flexible, like a metal rod. In solids, the particles are closer to each other and are very organized. A liquid has a varying shape that conforms to the shape of the container. In liquids, the particles are farther from each other compared to solids, but are closer to each other when compared with gases. Because of the distance between the particles is less, the liquids have definite volume. That is, they cannot be compressed by a lot. A gas, on the other hand, has no fixed shape or volume. In gases, the particles of gas are far apart from one another compared to that of solids and liquids. And because of this reason, gases are highly compressible, meaning we can take an extra large volume of gas and compress it into a tiny volume by applying external pressure. Let us now see a simulation that explains the movement of particles in various states of matter. In a solid, particles have the least amount of freedom. They have no translational freedom, meaning the particles are confined to a fixed position and that they cannot move. They have no rotational freedom, that is, the particles cannot rotate. The reason for this restricted movement is the strong intermolecular forces between the particles. The particles in the solid can vibrate slightly though. That is, they have a small amount of vibrational freedom. If you look at liquids, the particles have more freedom than that of a solid. The particles can move from their position, that is, they have some translational freedom. They can rotate as well as vibrate, that is, they have both rotational and vibrational freedom. However, the freedom of motion of particles inside a liquid is quite constrained. This is because of some amount of forces of attraction exerted by neighboring particles. Now, if you take a gas, particles have the greatest degree of freedom. They are not held in place by any force, and they can move in any direction, they can vibrate, and they can also rotate. Because of this freedom of movement, gases occupy any volume that is provided to them.